There we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the episode of the Duckworks. We have just gotten through with a second free weekend. Holy crap, that was amazing. I had a ton of fun. I don't know about everybody else, but I sincerely enjoyed myself. Jiraiya, thank you for joining me, and how was your free weekend?
A lot of forum digging. Oh, the forums.
What?
I think my keyboard melted at one point.
They weren't a bastion of, just friendliness and well thought out posts.
They were actually pretty friendly. It was pretty tame. There were a couple instances of, fairly obvious trolling and a few not so obvious trolling.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it was a lot of the same questions over and over again, which kind of gets frustrating when there's three different posts, all of the same question on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I just had a text file and was copy pasting the same 5 different answers over and over because that's what it took. So, yay, fun.
Yeah,
Steam free weekends.
You're a much braver man than I for actually manning the forums. So, yeah, with this free weekend came lots of changes. We had a very, very big patch just before the free weekend that introduced the new tech tree, some new armor and healing mechanics, and reset.
And live progression.
Yeah, reset everybody back to square one, which, thank you, Mastery. Mastery is a fine reason to play a game. Personally, not my favorite. I mean, I like being good at stuff, but I don't like, being mega awesome. Anyway, let's get right into it with the changes to armor. So, armor now heals itself, which is...
Slowly.
Yeah, slowly, which is weird to me. I understand the reasons behind it. It just kind of feels weird. So, how does armor work? Well, armor takes enough damage, it breaks, you take more damage, whoop-de-doo. But armor used to not heal itself. Now it heals itself. If you stay out of combat for 120 seconds base, I don't know if there are any modifiers in the game yet or what they are, your armor will heal itself back up to full. Now, this won't alter your hit points any other than, well, your armor's up so you're taking less damage, but it does mean that you can operate for extended periods outside of combat, right? So if you're playing a small ship, being annoying, going in backcapping, not entering combat. Now, this is something that I would like clarified for me. Is this combat as in you have engaged somebody? So, like, for example, if you're in a... Let's pretend the Raider's shield could last for 2 minutes, and your armor was down. Could you sit behind a Raider shield, still poke somebody for 2 minutes, and have your armor healed up? Or...
Yes.
Really?
It's taking no damage for 10 seconds. We'll start the repair.
Even if you...
It was mentioned somewhere.
Even if you're doing damage yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not combat. That's oddly worded. Sorry, it's a big bugbear of mine. So it's not combat, it's taking damage. So if you haven't taken damage for 2 minutes, your armor will heal itself back up to full. That's pretty
again,
spiffy.
It will be at full after 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 10 seconds of not taking damage. After 10 seconds, it'll immediately start the repair. And you'll start gaining armor on it again.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. I mean, I don't think it will affect me personally, as I don't play light ships very much, and that really seems to be what this is targeted at. But
I actually think it has a little more towards the mediums and definitely the heavies, where if we start the game and we fight over that central mine, and I end up winning it. I don't necessarily have to immediately jump back for repair, even though I won it as soon as I finish capping that mine. If we win by a significant margin, I can sit there and decide to hold that mine, because by the time the enemy returns, I'll have regenerated a good chunk of my armor. And since heavies in particular have that extra bulk of armor to them, their armor, because it's the same time to repair it, they're going to have repaired more armor over that time than a medium would. And a medium is going to, it's not going to be so necessarily mandated for them either that they have to jump back. Say I won the fight and I'm a little over half health, it'd actually be worth it for me to stay, so long as they don't have something very quick that could get on top of me and start putting fire in. If I can pull out 30, 40 seconds, I could repair a quarter of my armor. That might be enough to let me, if not kill them, maybe my death explosion could get them. Maybe I could cripple them enough that they have to go back and repair. It basically make it enough that if I do well over that first fight, it does put a significant impact on the next.
Okay. So you think this at least currently feels more like an early game targeted change than a late game targeted change, because late game things just happen at a lightning pace.
And for the most part, I find if I'm low on health, even more than down a quarter, I'll pop back for repair, because the death timer just simply isn't worth the the 15 seconds it took me to get back into a base and get back to full, especially with how fast we're repairing. Thanks, Willis.
Yeah. New repair time, by the way. For those of you that weren't here before the free weekend, old repair time, you didn't start repairing for like 15 seconds and then took another 30 seconds for you to repair. Now you're fully repaired in, 20, 25 seconds? Which is a heck of a lot better.
It's significantly faster.
Yeah.
Which is, again, something targeted towards the early game. In the late game, you're going to sit there and repair anyway. But the early game, there was issues where it was actually better to let your opponent escape on low health and make them go repair, because they were out of the game longer than if they had died and jumped back in. So, yeah, it's progression. The game is, even now, still getting substantially better.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job at progressing things without breaking mechanics, which is very appreciated.
Speaking of changing things without breaking mechanics, going along with the armor changes, healing has now been changed. Now, this isn't a huge departure from what you would expect, but it used to be that armor, when it was healed, would be healed evenly across the whole ship. So your healing beam on your protector would heal all armor facings equally. But now, instead, it will do vastly reduced healing on facings that it is not affecting at that moment. And
it's actually not even vastly. It won't repair any of the armor to any section other than what's actually being hit by the beam.
Oh, wow.
Which makes it very difficult when the Colossus refuses to turn that other side to you.
Yep. That's a slight nerf, I guess, to the protector, but I don't think it's one that is undeserved, because the protector, at least in my experience, is viewed as or at least was viewed as the superior healer of the two, if you want to argue, 3 healing ships that we have in the game right now.
And it's a case where the Protector is still doing fantastically well at playing a support. Mostly the problem between Protector and Disruptor is those drones are very binary. Either you have something that can deal with it, in which case the drones are little more than useless, or you don't have something that can wipe out those drones, and it's effectively 40 seconds of immortality for whatever ship you're deploying him to.
Yeah. It is.
So the new changes impact not just Protector, because that armor actually puts some requirement of skill. As the support player, I have to be able to target your damage sections, which means I have to pay attention, but also means that as, say, the Brawler, if my left flank gets broken, I have to rotate and provide them my right flank, which means at some point I'm crossing my front into their line of fire. That's bad. And I think that of anything, the biggest thing that this change has done is it's reduced the strength, that raw power of the Brawler Protector combo, because it can simply force that the Brawler, and to a lesser extent the Hunter, to turn those weak front locations towards the enemy fire, so that the support can repair that damaged section. It's a little bit more damage they take, and it's basically just increases the skill required to pull off the combo, which I think is a good idea. I think with Matchmaker, it'll keep it from being the pub stomper it has been.
It will also actually encourage people to try out the other two. Most people don't know this, but the Protector actually has 2 other healing beams you can get for it. With this armor change, and you actually have to heal all of the different sections. We might actually see the pulse healing beam come out. I mean, you won't be healing for more each click, but your beam will come back up faster. You have to actually get in range to do stuff. You can't just sit back at 20k and just, magically keep people almost invulnerable with the Protector anymore. That it's such a subtle change that impacts everything, and it's really cool to see, and shows exactly why balance is an art and not a science.
Definitely not a science. And I thought this was a very clever change that a lot of people just aren't going to see a whole lot of difference with, but it does add a lot of depth for skill to play a significant factor. Which is always great. More skill.
Yeah, more skill. Yay! Alright, oh goodness, there was one other change, and now I completely blanked on what it was.
Are you thinking the Brawler's armor location change?
Maybe, yeah. So the Brawler actually had it was its weak points that were made weaker, right?
Its side's armor, well, I guess we should do it properly. Its side armor had a 4,000 base, which is the highest base of anything in the game.
Yeah, by a large
margin. And had a bonus 25% extra damage reduction, which is why you just did not ever bother shooting at the sides of a Brawler. That got removed, and it now has the same base flat 25% damage reduction everything else normal armor locations have. It also had the rear and bottom sections were weak spots, where it had 200 or 750 armor instead of the standard 1,000, which is, again, makes it its weak spots. And it had no damage reduction to armor, meaning even if I hit it there, I took full damage. I didn't take the double damage from broken armor, but I still took full, which meant it was still really painful to get hit there. Those sections gained the normal 25% damage reduction. So net, it means that I can still shoot the sides of a Brawler. I can now shoot the sides of a Brawler and something will happen, but it's still not really a good idea unless you've got something to just break the armor first, like Scythe Beam or the Venture's Breaker.
Stonecracker.
Breaker. Thing that destroys all my armor in one shot. Yes,
that gun. I know that gun.
Yes.
I like that gun.
Frustrating gun that all Brawlers hate now. So unless I have one of those options, I still want to focus on your weak spots.
Mm-hmm.
But those weak spots aren't nearly as weak now. They're still going to break fairly quickly, but while they're up, I still have some damage reduction there.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me a little bit tougher until those sections break. I think overall it's a net gain for Brawler,
Mm-hmm.
but with the changes to armor healing from the repair, I think that actually is what makes it a net loss for the Brawler.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very complicated.
It is. Again, back to the whole balance is an art, not a science. But it's definitely good, especially with the prevalence of the Brawler now that the reset has come and the free weekend is here, and we've got a whole lot of new fish in the pond, right? People that just don't know. You can't really blame them for that, right? I went on several rants on stream. Shoot the Brawler in the nose. Don't shoot him in the side. You know, these things that you just learn from experience.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of people will learn them from experience and not from, you know, partaking of the wisdom of those who have come before them. But it's
lead a horse to the fount of wisdom, but you can't make him drink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's really good to see that the Brawler is less crazy than it was, because it used to be an absolutely unstoppable powerhouse, and then it became a slightly more stoppable powerhouse, and now it is an even more stoppable powerhouse. So
I would call it a stoppable powerhouse now.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. It's gone from really almost completely unmanageable. Holy crap! Why do we have to fight this too? Okay, we got to pay attention to that and focus it down right now. Ugh.
Where, yeah, I can turn my side to all 5 of the enemy team, but now I'm not going to live forever while doing it.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that was getting a little ridiculous.
Just a bit. Just a bit. Then, moving on to the tech trees. Ooh.
Oh.
So, for those of you that are brand spanking new, the tech trees that we have in-game now are, you know, barring, you know, new ships that will be added, and there will be new ships, right? New ships being added, just general changes going in. The structure that we have right now for the tech trees are going to be what we have going forward. These are supposed to be the final tech trees for all the ships that we have right now. And with that came a big reset, so everybody's back at square zero. You know, if you had your premium ships, you kept them, but everybody has to earn everything over again. Folks like myself and Dry here, who used to have everything, now we have nothing, and we were sad, but then we had something to do, so we were happy. But
not so sad. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Some motivation to play is very nice.
It's an early access game. It's still an alpha. I honestly expected another wipe between now and later. So hearing that this is the final version, I thought that was pretty cool. That hey, whatever I do now isn't going to get wiped anymore. Which really was bizarre to see that happen that early in the process. We're still several months out from release, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, best case, we're still several months out. We haven't even hit beta yet. Oh my, we've been in alpha for a year. We have no idea how long we're going to be in beta. But
I think the plan still is to have the game go free to play in the first half of this year. So last I heard, March would be the earliest we would go into beta, and then it would just be a matter of balancing and optimizing and getting the game as good as we can. Well, as good as Edge Case can, and then shipping it out the door when it's as close to ready as a game like this could ever possibly be.
Yeah. when nothing seems to be catching on fire and nothing seems to be just destroying games by its very presence. But I like the new tech trees. They're not perfect. I know personally I don't. I kind of am not happy with the rate at which you gain credits and XP. Not because they are bad in and of themselves, but because it feels really bad to me to have ground enough XP for something and then I don't have the credits for it. That's I believe every single ship that I've unlocked out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I've unlocked so far has been a case of unlock the ship, play some more, buy it, and then double that up with the upgrades, which I also think the upgrades are a little bit more expensive than they need to be. So that to me doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, and I agree. To me, it feels like when I've earned it with experience, I've earned the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So to have to play, and I crunched the numbers, 73% more games than it took me to unlock it before I can actually buy it and play it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that really does not sit well in my gut. I don't like that. No,
Yeah.
not happy with it.
Yeah, it feels bad. Now, part of that, I'm gonna be perfectly frank. Part of that, I think, is the fact that right now we have 3 tier 1 ships, your starter ships. Your Pioneer, Venturer. Gotta add that and the Sentinel. And then we have 2 tier 2 ships, one for USR in the form of the Colossus, and one for Titan Defense Systems in the form of the Protector. Nothing for Zarek, and only the one for USR and TDS. Once those get fleshed out, once Tier 2 is chock-a-block full of ships, and hopefully Tier 3, I think at that point things are going to feel a lot better because you're going to have those smaller gaps in between getting something, right? If you want to just chew down one line, right, it'll feel like a steady progression. But if you're somebody like me that hops around from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing every 5 seconds, it will feel a lot better because you're able to slowly chew through stuff but never feel like something is out of reach. So if, for example, we've got 4 tier 2 ships to pick from, I can go and I can unlock those, and once I've unlocked those, you have up to 2 extra loadouts, extra options for each of the loadout slots, and there's 6 or 8 total potential loadout slots on the ship for weapons and missiles and special abilities and whatnot. Then you'll be able to chew through those, and then by the time you've chewed through those, ideally you should have been earning XP and credits fast enough that when, okay, I'm finally ready to start on Tier 3, you're not going to feel like you're just sitting there grinding. But that's a big personal bugbear for me, is I don't like feeling that I'm grinding. If I know I'm grinding, that's one thing. If I feel like I'm grinding, and that's another. And with the Venturer starting off with this patch, I felt like I was grinding. Because you have that huge gap between the Venturer and the first ship that you can get, the Hunter. Even if we just had a premium ship in there for something that already exists, another ship that I've played to death and back, it would feel better because I would have 2 options that I could jump between. But right now, to me, the Zarek tree really shows how important those low-tier ships are in making the system feel less grindy.
Yeah, I've got, counting the starters and the premiums, I'm a game away in both USR and TDS from unlocking my 5th ship. In Zarek, I still only have the Venturer. It's not that I dislike playing the Venturer. It's that I feel it is my only option. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at, based off the average numbers, 14 games before I can unlock the first ship, which mm-hmm. would be the Hunter. Mm-hmm. If I want to go for Gladiator or Enforcer, 26 games. And that's counting credits, so I could earn some of those games through other things. I mean, 11 of those games I don't have to play Zarek in. Mm-hmm. So, but that's 15 games still, even then, that I have to do in Venture, and mm-hmm. only the Venturer, and nothing but the Venturer. Mm-hmm. So help me God.
Yeah.
I don't know. As somebody who has, like, the ship ADD that I think a lot of us all suffer from, mm-hmm. 15 games in one ship? No thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you're going, oh, hey, this ship complements my team. Oh, hey, this ship complements my team.
Or I enjoy this ship more than other things.
Exactly. You know, there's a difference between forcing somebody to play a ship and you just happen to play a ship a whole bunch, and that's obviously not the intention, but the reality is right now with Zarek, and after you get the Protector and the Colossus, with the other two manufacturers, you are stuck with one ship unless you're lucky enough to have one of the premiums, or two ships unless you're lucky to have one of the premiums, and you've got 3 ships. So it becomes more bearable there, but that well of stuff that you can chew on and acquire quickly, I think dries up. Or, well, no, I don't think dries up. It does dry up really quickly right now. Mm-hmm. So,
that's kind of where I'm already sitting at with Titan in particular. I have the Revenant Reaper, so mm-hmm. I really don't need to go out and pick up the Reaper right now. Mm-hmm. I have the Persecutor, Protector, and I just picked up the Equalizer. Do I want to grind out the, 48 more games to get the Raven? Do I want to go grind out, say, what is it for Leviathan? 24 games? That's not too bad. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I have left that I really want is the Interceptor. Mm-hmm. But that requires me to go grind out, 15 games to pick up the Reaper, mm-hmm. and then another 35 games to go pick up the Interceptor, and the extra, 26 games to earn the credits mm-hmm. to play it, which I can do in other ships, but that's starting to feel a little grindy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And we don't even have most of the Interceptors. I mean, we have one ship in the Interceptors tree right now, so mm-hmm. we can't exactly call it, like, locked out because of tree bloat or anything. Mm-hmm. So, and the Ghost is even worse. Counting the credits you need. Mm-hmm. If you were to play only Pioneer and go straight for the Ghost, it's 107.4 games to unlock the Ghost. And that's only going to get bigger for a new player as the tree fills in. Mm-hmm. And that feels super, ultra, mega grindy to me. And, I'm not really... I think that's a little too big. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't be looking at... Well, and it's those Tier 7 ships are mm-hmm. taking 48 games to unlock in experience, and then another 35 games to just get the credits. Mm-hmm. So that's 35 games I have to play where I have the ship here. Mm-hmm. I've earned the ship here with experience, but I'm not allowed to play it.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it feels really bad right now. Yeah. And Yeah, I
And I've
can.
tested the system with the platinum. I picked up the Black Widow with platinum
Mhm.
to see how it would impact, like, my credits and how I felt about buying a ship with platinum.
Mhm.
And basically, what it came down to is, well, in League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm, and I'd say Dota, but they just give you everything free.
Mhm.
If there's a hero I'm looking at going, man, he looks really fun, or he was in rotation and I really enjoyed him,
Mhm.
I can go throw my wallet at the screen until I have the ship.
Yeah.
Well, the hero.
Mhm.
With this, you telling me I have to go play, was it more than almost 70 games? 72, I think it is.
Mhm.
72 games in USR. Sure, with any ship I have in USR, but still 72 games
Mhm.
before I can earn the right to throw my wallet at you
Mhm.
so that I can play my ghost.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
It feels bad. It feels bad from that perspective of, I want this. I want this now.
Mhm.
On the other hand, specifically on being able to buy ships with platinum. Personally, I think it's okay the way it is right now because it forces you to learn how to play the freaking game. And if you've got something you really want, fine. Go ahead and buy it right now. And it is the cherry on top of your climb up the mountain to grind all the XP you need for that ship. I mean, you can also uh, buy the loadout options with platinum if you want. I personally wouldn't, but you still have to grind the XP out. I think that is okay because it's going to result in a smarter player base, which is going to result in better games for everyone. That is a good thing, in my opinion. It feels bad now for the same reasons I was talking about before, is because we don't have those low tier ships to chew through. But all in all, it is good that you can't jump right towards the end. So this is kind of a coda for me. A repeating theme in things that I talk about is that numbers will fix everything. More players will fix matchmaking. Everybody will have a better time. More ships will make the grind feel less grindy. Because
I'm not entirely sold on it making it less grindy. I
it,
think it would. I think it will mask that the game is
mhm.
very grindy, but I don't think it will make it
it
actually
yeah. Yeah, of course,
less
just
grindy.
mathematically, it'll be
Yeah.
the same. It'll be longer because you'll have to stop it and get
Yeah.
all this stuff, and then get all this stuff, and then get all this stuff. And as long as it doesn't feel like you're just sitting there going, sure would like another ship right now, which is what it is currently. That'll make it a lot better. So, to me, please, designers, focus on low tier ships. I know you like designing and talking about the really high tier stuff too. I do too. But concerted effort on low tier stuff, please. 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 Easy to pick up ships. Easy to acquire ships. Introductory stealth craft. Whatever those might
Something
look like.
something low tier,
Mm-hmm.
tier 2 for Zarek.
Mm-hmm.
And if you also would give us a premium Zarek,
That would
that would be great
that would
too.
be splendid. That would be
Please,
fantastical.
please not the Paragon.
Not not the Paragon, not the Infiltrator, not the Hunter.
Well,
Um,
maybe those, but please not something that is locked out that we can't use right now. That's mostly my biggest concern. Is I would like a premium Paragon down the road, but I would like to play a premium. Just keep that in mind.
yeah. Actually,
Probably not something the difficulty of Phantom either.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would say it would be more amusing, but it really just ends up being sad watching people play the Phantom
Mm-hmm.
and thinking it's something it's not.
Mm-hmm. I personally
Getting very upset because it is an extremely difficult ship to do even well at. So something easy. I honestly want to say something easier than Hunter even. So if you want to make a brand new ship that is Tier 2 Xeric and then give us a premium version of that ship like immediately, I guess that wouldn't solve the problem, would it?
not really.
Okay, Premium Raider. Make
Yeah.
Akula the premium. Just give everyone the Akula.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could work. That would be pretty spiffy.
Of course, all the people who bought it would be ticked.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Bit. Although that's kind of a perfect segue. We've got 2 new legendary skins in this patch. We have the what is it? Apollo skin for
Ares.
Ares skin. Yes, the Ares skin for the Destroyer and the Akula for the Raider. I've seen both of them in game. The Ares skin is pretty damn hot. The Akula, though, to me, that the Akula is what skins should be. The Akula to me looks like somebody said, okay, I'm gonna buy this Raider, and I'm gonna take it to this badass aftermarket shop, and they are going to pimp the ever-living shit out of this thing. And then I'm gonna drive around in my Raider with my hydraulics and my underlights.
You make it
laser
sound
the
like I
crap
took
out of people.
a spaceship to exhibit and said, dude,
Yes! Yes, that is what the Akula is. The Akula is what Exhibit would make if he had a Raider. And I think that is brilliant. And I that is going to be the next ship I unlock for Xeric. I got my Hunter so I could play, something that wasn't the Venturer. Next I'm getting the Raider because I want my blue laser, damn it. So
unfortunately, you just determined what the next entire page of Fractured Memes is going to be.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that because, to me, I think so the Revenant Reaper, another excellent example of this. To me, those are what I want skins to be in the long run. A lot of what we've got right now is recolors, and that's fine. Let's be real. The art team at Edge Case is small and needs to be bigger. Ginger Gladiator should have this tiny army of people just doing his bidding, and I hope part of his bidding would be making more awesome skins like the Akula, because truth be told, I want every single Xeric ship to have an Akula skin right now. I want a Hunter and a Venturer and an Enforcer and a Paragon, all to be done by that same group of, spaceship making people, because it is that good to me. It is just so good. Same thing with the Revenant. With the Revenant Reaper and all of the Titan Defense System ships. Could you imagine a Revenant version of the Leviathan with a giant green fusion beam? How confusing that would be to people. Yes!
There would be so many Green Lantern jokes.
There would be so many Green Lantern jokes. And how many people would sit there, oh, there's this giant green beam hitting me, I'm not getting healed, what's going on? Something is dreadfully wrong. Oh, they're amazing. And what I, as somebody who has spent a lot of money on Fractured Space, really would like to end up seeing in the future. Because, it's cool, man. It's cool. It gives me something to get on the internet and go, oh my god, it's so cool about, right? And that is splendid. That is what everything should be. And that was just kind of me going, oh my god, tangent, but I felt I had to do it.
And you still haven't mentioned the blue laser.
I haven't mentioned the blue laser! There's a blue laser on the Akula! Ugh! It's a blue laser beam! That's what I wanted. Seriously, that was my first thought. I saw the Akula and went, wow, that better have a blue laser beam. And it does. Yes! It is
Now,
so good.
I haven't seen the Ares. Does it have the light cycle ribbon of light behind it as it moves? Because that would be awesome.
It does not, unfortunately. I do like the Ares, but to me it is the weaker of the two legendary skins. That doesn't mean it is not pretty awesome to see a Tron-esque destroyer just slowly cruising down the lane, and all of a sudden there's this volley of blue death particles that's just coming straight for you. It's good, but the Akula's out of the park. Like, it's not even in the same state anymore. It's just gone into orbit. It really has.
You're in Texas. That's quite a distance.
Yeah. I mean, we got NASA here, and they're just going, what the hell was that? I don't know what to talk about anymore. I got so excited.
Little bit of fangirling.
A little bit. Ginger Gladiator's a really cool guy. Got to hang out with him a little bit when I went to Edge Case HQ, and really cool guy. Let's see what can there's at least one more thing that we could go. I know what we can go over. Matchmaking. Oh, and all the fun that happened over this free weekend.
Do you see? It's raining salt.
Yeah, just nothing's ever going to grow ever again. Yeah. So, for those of you that don't know, which is going to be a lot of you, for the longest time in Fractured Space, we have only had a server browser. So you could actually just go in, it would give you a list of servers, you could pick what you wanted, and have a game full of clanmates if you wanted. We had some matchmaker tests, but, we never really had more than, on average, 150 people? Maybe 180 at the absolute peak, but that didn't last very long.
I think we capped around 200 a couple of times, but
yeah,
I think that was mostly the extended matchmaker test. Back in, I think it was mid-December, just before the holidays.
So, but yeah, we never really had the numbers like we've had this free weekend, where we capped out at 6,000 people. So many. I'm pretty sure it was 6,000 people. The highest I ever saw while I was playing was like either 3,400 or 4,000.
Steam charts shows the all-time peak at 6,251.
That's
and
phenomenal.
As of right now, the 24-hour peak is 3,231. So, just over 3,200 players.
That's phenomenal. So we've gone from a small community of 200 or less to 10 to 20 times that. Yeah, 10 to 20
we're
times
pushing.
that.
Looking through Steam charts, we were over 4,500 all the time during the weekend, except for when the servers went down for that quick fix.
So there were some problems with the matchmaker over the free weekend. The big one that hit me was there was a 15% chunk of the population who had a problem with their matchmaker rating brought over from previous tests that caused them to be stuck in endless queues, and that sucked. But it got fixed, right? We've had some problems with 4v6s, and Jiraiya showed me a picture earlier of a 4v7. And other
2 bugs for the price of one match.
There were 3 groups of 2 on one team and a solo guy, and then 2 groups of 2.
It was one group of 2 and 2. I've got the image
and 2
still.
solos.
Yeah, one group of two and two solos on the other team.
Yeah, so we have some rare reports of bugs like that. I believe I saw a screenshot of a 2v2, which, all right, doesn't sound like the most horrible thing in the world. I know I personally played one 4v4 over the weekend, and lots of people's first reaction is, this sucks. Why haven't you fixed this yet? Because we didn't know until now. Here's the unfortunate reality about testing, right? You could have 100 people in your QA department testing all day, 7 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for several months, and there's just going to be bugs that you won't find because they're going to happen only 0.001% of the time. And so if they don't happen, or they only happen once, gremlins in the system happen, and then they never happen again, all right, whatever, not a big deal. But then you get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people playing, and those 0.001, bugs start happening to 50 or 100 or 200 people. Then you can start going, oh, wow, we need to fix this right now. This is a horrible thing. How
did this ever make it through QA?
Exactly. Well, it's just the mathematical reality that shit doesn't happen, all the time.
Well, and, I'm sure Zared may remember this. When the first matchmaker test made it to the external QA group, the test pilot group, the test pilots got on and played around with it and did several matches. No issues at all. It worked flawlessly.
Yep.
And it made it to live and was horrible. It just, it fell apart completely as soon as it had to deal with more than 30 players.
Yeah.
And they've patched it and they fixed it, and they've been doing some tweaks to it, but it's been the same system since. And we had a test of the matchmaker, I want to say a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, before the Steam free weekend. And that was just a quick, hey, we're implementing this new change. We want to make sure we didn't blow everything up. Everything worked fine. They shut it off. Back to the server browser. Free weekend comes around, and we're using that same exact matchmaker, and fire is raining from the sky. The only thing that was different was the sheer number of players. So, like Sarah had said, it was an infinitesimal mathematical percentage became noticeable because we had a much bigger player base to test it with, which is testing. It happens.
Yeah. This is
It's an alpha.
Yeah, it's an alpha. And I mean, as much as it sucks that those bugs happen, and I know I sat in queue for over 200 minutes, right? As much as it sucks when that happens, that's part of making a game. Making games is really, really hard. There's a reason I don't do it. It's because it's really hard. I'm terrible at really hard things, right?
Multiplayer games in particular. Another order of magnitude tougher.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put the game together. You got to make sure all of the parts of the game work together. That means art and UI and network coding. And then you also, on top of that, have to have it function on a wide variety of systems. Everything from a barely functioning toaster all the way to something that has been forged from mithril by the dwarves of Ironforge or wherever, right? You have to be able to function on everything, and that is a huge challenge for a studio like Edgecase that's 30 people maybe ish, somewhere.
They're a little over 30 now. They've been expanding pretty steadily this last year.
Yeah, between 30 and 40. I mean, that sounds like a lot of people, and it's not a small number, but when you think of, okay, you've got your QA department and your community department and your art department and your design department, and then those are further broken down. So like in art, you've got characters for your crew members, and you've got ship modeling, and you've got asset modeling for the stations and the asteroids, and you've got particle effects and weapon. You get down to the point where you've got maybe 2 people doing any one thing, and that is a huge challenge. That is a gigantic challenge, and I don't exactly envy those guys a lot of the times, because they're cool as it would be to be able to help out. That shit's hard.
Yeah.
You're under a lot of stress, and most people don't understand that it's a really challenging thing to do. You know?
Yeah. And I have to say, since I've spent the whole weekend trolling the Steam forums, and I did it all back the first free weekend last April, I could tell you 99% of the ideas, thoughts, suggestions, feedback that I see from everybody playing, the devs have already mentioned, yeah, we know it's a problem, or, we've had that idea, we're working towards it, it's something that will be in the final product, we're just bottlenecked. And the biggest bottleneck, I believe, still is their UI, which the hangar is terribly inefficient, the in-game UI needs work, it's all known stuff, they're working on it, their UI guys have been bottlenecked getting other critical systems in place, so give it a couple more months. It'll get there.
Yeah. Everything takes time, and you have no idea where something's going to break down along the chain. It's just like a traffic jam, right? Everybody's going along with a nice steady pace, and then one guy slams on his brakes, and then everybody behind him in this cascading effect, just it all piles up, and give them time. They're hardworking, passionate, wonderful individuals who are making something that is super awesome.
And I was impressed to see how many of the bugs they were hammering out and fixing just over the weekend. I'm pretty sure everyone who had anything to do with Matchmaker or server or QA was in the office all weekend just putting in the hours to get it up and running. I've seen tests of much smaller levels with games in beta go horribly, horribly awry on scale that isn't even comparable to this. So, yeah, we all had bugs. We all had issues with the Matchmaker. But it could have been a lot worse.
Error 34, anyone? That Diablo launch, though.
Ugh, right?
Yeah.
And don't tell me Blizzard didn't have the money to bring in 1,000 QA testers. Nah. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what
now
else.
You got me thinking about that launch. Oh.
I remember too. I remember. This is crap. Why is this online all the time? Anyway.
In Fire Raid for the Skies, I thought it was going to be in-game and not on the forums. This Diablo is a little too realistic for me.
Yeah, these graphics are excellent, but they kind of need to be toned down. It's getting a little toasty. But yeah. What else do we need to go over? I don't think we need to go over anything else.
I think we got the big ones.
Yeah. All right, that sounds like a good place to end it.
Very natural there.
Yeah. Yeah, what do we talk about? I don't know. Okay, we're done. Yeah, so thank you all for sticking with us through this only an hour. Wow, only an hour.
We're getting better at this.
Yeah. Holy crap, only an hour. Only an hour of rambling on about various things and topics. So, if there is anything that any of you that have stuck around this long would like to see, would like us to talk about, maybe we've had devs on in the past to talk about various things. So, if there's something you'd like to hear about from an art perspective or a design perspective or a community perspective, leave a comment down below. I personally am on Twitter all the time, at Zared on Twitter, hey, tweet me, hey, get this guy on, or talk about this, or do this. Please, we do this because we like it, but also because we want this to be useful to you. We do. Mm-hmm. So if there's stuff you want, if there's stuff you need, let us know, and we'll try and get it to you. All right. Thank you for sticking with us through this travesty. Bye!